Generally, in America, they think hoods, robes, the KKK. I can tell you from the KKK groups that I was around and infiltrated, I didn't, I mean, maybe you got some felons in possession of weapons, but on a scale of what I'm getting ready to talk about, it's not even close. Accelerationism around 2018-19 was considered cringe by a lot of white nationalists. You had Adam Waffen, you had the base, and that was pretty much it. But 2 to 3 years after that, if you're in these dark web apps like Telegram, Riot, Threema, Wire, 4chan, 8chan, 12chan, whatever they're on now, Gab, you will start seeing that the majority of white nationalist groups are now accelerationists. And this is scary because I'll explain to you what an accelerationist is. An accelerationist does not believe there's a political solution to save the white race. They believe that society is going to collapse on its own or from man-made events, and they want to speed it up, hence accelerate it.
Shalom Israel, all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Makakadash, upon apostles and elders and bishops of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutation, blessings, peace to the elect, all right, the remnant, pushing the word across the four corners of the earth, risking your life to do so, especially now. I'm the brother Shaman of the Chicago branch of Great Millstone, and we're seeing the end of Esau. This is the end. All right, what did it say? The beast should be they should be loosed a little season. All right, that season is coming up short. All right, the joy of the hypocrite is but for a moment. Revelation 12:12. Yeah, we're gonna hit a lot of these same scriptures, but this is the time that we're in. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And that's exactly why. Like you said, back years ago, they weren't accelerating nothing. It was just good old boys and talking shit, and hey, we're preserving our way of life over here. They can still live out the benefits, being an Edomite or whatever. Talk a little shit, drive a nice pickup truck, own their land. But now, as we can see, Esau's rulership is dwindling. They become drunk. They become hated, worldwide. A lot of your kids are growing up seeing you like, people, we've been pieces of shit. All right, your daughter's rebelling, getting with a so-called brown guy, getting with a so-called black guy, because they understand that their family is, have a history of lies and violence and deception. All right, you guys are going to come down with a great wrath. And yeah, this is we're in that generation where they want to accelerate things. They want to. Hey, we're gonna have to, like he said, there's nothing political we can do. We're gonna have to do things, get our hands dirty. All right, and that's why I was hoping, boy, that the military came to Chicago. I was hoping, but I guess it's not time yet. But that time is coming. Don't worry. We on the lot of Jonah. Nineveh's gonna be destroyed eventually, and then during the time of was it Tobit? Yeah, it was his son Tobias, I believe. Yeah, Nineveh was destroyed later on, which Nineveh was the capital of the Assyrian Empire. And then when you read down in Revelation 12, one of my favorite chapters, verse 17, and the dragon was wroth with the woman, right? And this is that beast whose deadly wound was healed. This is the Roman Empire reincarnated. It talks about that the Roman, the serpent chased after the woman. And the woman represents Israel. That man-child being Yahweh Shai. And now we're at the very end, where that dragon is wroth, is pissed off, because he wanted to destroy us. Right? And here it is, we're still here. And Jake is wicked as hell, but still here. Right? Still here for a time, because you tribes, man. The Lord got to fuck y'all up. The Lord has to humble you. The Lord has to humble blacks. The Lord has to humble Puerto Ricans, the Mexicans, Colombians, because you guys are proud. You guys are fucking proud. You fallen, and you guys have gotten drunk, right, with the wine of Babylon. You drank the juice. You left your beer open, and it came back to the bar. They sprinkled a little shit in there, or whatever, and now you guys are all fucked up. Right, blocking downtown and shit, waving the stupid ass fucking flags, blocking traffic. For what you say is Independence Day, but you're stuck in America and you don't want to go back to the country that you're flying the flag for, and everybody's calling it out. Well, why don't you go back to that country? Jake is just dumb. All right, but anyway, back on you, Esau, because you ain't getting away. Verse 17, because this is what they really want to do. They want to get at the prophets. They want to get at us with the scriptures. You guys are, the rest of you are easy, light work. All right, the average common nigga spick is light work. But see, what I notice is when we start going out, reading the scriptures, all these different Christians came out, all these different, rabbis come out, professors get, theological professors, and they all get dealt with. That was a warning to them. Hold up. They're waking up. Oh no. All right, that's why I said their enemies beheld them. They standing up on our feet again. The Lord is putting that breath in us. We're the real, out of all of our people, you have to remember that too. Worldwide, the ones who had the scriptures, the ones who had the understanding, we have that candle. Right? We are that light for our people. And never forget that, regardless of how many views you get, if the Lord is dealing with you, the Lord is dealing with you. Right? And our enemies can see it. They can see your face shining. They can see how you move. They can listen to you, like scriptures talk about in holy conversation. How you say things, how you move around. Best believe we're being watched. All right, verse 17, Revelation 12 and 17, the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. All right, the remnant, which keep the commandments of the Most High and have the testimony of Yahweh Shai Mashiach. All right, and that's the Israelites. There's no denying that.
But their belief system, they call siege culture. James Mason is a long-time
siege culture. What does it say? A man should want to go to one part of the city and not be. See, that's what they want. To siege everything, shut shit down, take over. I think online they call it like the day of the rope or some shit.
White supremacists wrote a book called Seek.
And this guy, coincidentally, from what he said at least, he said he was originally a devil worshiper. So when we call you guys the devil, you guys have embraced and played with actually, being affiliated with the devil. So you can't be mad.
Don't go by it or try to, because you'll probably show up on the FBI's list. But it's basically a lot of interviews.
Google it.
Yeah, no, well, you can Google it. No, you can Google it.
Yeah.
All
right, I don't want to get
just say
made
I'm Scott
fun.
Payne researching. Yeah. But it's called Siege, and it's basically a bunch of interviews, and he puts it together in a book. But this guy idolizes like Charles Manson, other satanic stuff. But the big thing, the shift is, look at Charlottesville. You had everybody marching down the street with picket signs, yelling racial stuff, and The siege culture does not do that. The siege culture thinks that's a waste of time. You're not doing any good for anything, and you're making yourself a mark, a target. Siege culture looks at guerrilla warfare tactics. We're going to stay hidden. We're going to cause chaos through. Maybe you kill a lefty journalist. Maybe you kill an Antifa type. Non-whites, blacks, Jews. Poisoning water systems, taking down power supplies, derailing trains, anything.
And that's why we tell, we read out of the scriptures, you got to stay diligent as a watchman, because this is the kind of shit that's going on in the city around you. Of course, you got Jake bugging out with all these spirits on him, but it's for a reason, right? Because Edomites, you ones at the top, you guys are stirring up these spirits. You guys are doing, witchcraft. You guys are playing with the food, playing with the water. That's why you gotta watch. You gotta watch that stuff, and watch as well as pray. Right? The scriptures talk about that. We're gonna eat poison to live anyway. All right. This is why you see all these different shootings and all of this chaos. It's not by accident.
Kickoff. They may have changed the terminology now, but it was called the bougaloo. They referred to bougaloo as the D-Day. And then you hear things like they take the scene in the Matrix of red pill and blue pill, and they use that verbiage. If you're red pilled, you're a neo-Nazi, you're an accelerationist. If you're blue pilled, then you're like, hey, what about your mom, your dad? What do they believe? Oh, they're blue pilled. They're snowed over. Which is comical in its own way to me and its sinister own way, because the scene that they're doing all that based off of in Matrix is Lawrence Fishburne and Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
They're basing all their verbiage off of a black guy.
And a mixed guy.
All right? But just picture like militia meets doomsday prepper meets white supremacist neo-Nazi.
Well, this group, the base,
Yep.
isn't it running from Russia?
We did learn that the leader, the founder of the group, is a U.S. citizen born, Villanova grad, Army, former Army, Intel, I believe, and at some point had contracted into the Department of Justice. Originally, we had heard FBI, but I never clarified which department, but as like an IT type. So you can look and see, okay, well, when he was in Villanova, you can see stuff he posted. He was not a radical white supremacist. What happened, I don't know. But he now resides in St. Petersburg, Russia, with a Russian wife and Russian kids.
So he runs this white supremacist hate group from Russia.
He did. He's trying to fire it back up, but we pretty much made it defunct when we took the case down.
Nah, it's still operating. He's full of shit. See, and that goes to show you that Russians are Edomites too. Right? And the foot of the bear, of course, we know represents the end of your rulership, and that's what we're in. Right now, Russia's gearing up, getting ready to finish off Ukraine. Ukraine is on the last legs. You Edomites have had full rule over the world, to go worldwide, to do all this, take people's shit, make them slaves, make them, colonize them, right? And now you're seeing the world, rise up against you, taking that energy back, taking the land back, kicking you the fuck out. And who was the first ones to do it? It was Jake. And now everybody is seeing it. Ezekiel 28:5, by thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thy heart is lifted up because of thy riches. Therefore thus saith the Most High, because thou hast set thine heart as the heart of the Most High, right? You set your mind as if you're God, as if you're the supreme. Behold, therefore I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of the nations, and they shall draw their swords against the beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness. All right, and that's what you're seeing. All these nations are gearing up to fight against America in the state of Israel. All right, because they can see the bullshit. They shall bring thee down to the pit, and thou shalt die the deaths of them that are slain in the midst of the seas. Wilt thou yet say before him that slayeth thee, I am a power, right? I am the Most High, but thou shalt be a man and no power in the hand of him that slayeth thee. Yeah, you're gonna go out like a man. Right, Psalm 68 and 20. He that is our power is the power of salvation. All right, this is our power. That's why when you guys picked this book up, you broke it down wrong, you added to it, you took away from it. You didn't know what you were doing until the Lord sent understanding to his men who opened up the book and broke it down correctly. All right, and that's power. It says, and unto the Most High the Lord belong the issues from death. But the Most High shall wound the head of our enemies, and the hairy scalp of such an one as goeth on still in his trespasses. Let me get the NLT. I like how it translates it. But the Most High will smash the heads of his enemies, crushing the skulls of those who love their guilty ways. The Lord said, verse 22, the Lord said, I will bring again from Bashan, I will bring my people again from the depths of the sea, that thy foot may be dipped in the blood of thine enemies, and the tongue of thy dogs in the same. There you go. And so let's believe it. These things are accelerating, and according to prophecy, they're going to happen. All right, when you look at Mad Max and all that shit, according to the movie, it's supposed to be, post-apocalypse. Those people rise up after nuclear destruction and shit. That's not what's going to happen. All right, which they film that stuff in Australia. They film it in a wasteland because they know that this place is going to become a wasteland. But once this place is destroyed, that's it. You're going to have other Edomites in other places, but they're going to be taken down. Right, that all of the stuff with the siege and them fighting, going back and forth, that's happening now. That's a model for now. Like I mentioned, you gotta check out that movie Furiosa, and check out their character, Dementis. That's the kind of the rulership that we have now, the Dementis. Right, and all those Edomites were basically terrible rulers, over people in a wasteland. That's why they kind of, made those different analogies. And they were sickly, and eventually they all got taken down. Right, and that's exactly what's going to happen to you Edomites, from Russia, from whoever. All right, so shalom to the elect. Continue to endure. Be vigilant during these times. And good soldiers for Yahweh Shai. Shalom.